Hello, Brubs. Back with new book Arrivals number probably 270. This baby's got a hole in this head. Some books from last week and last week and this week and today, I guess. Let's get it on, bruv. First three are just mass market paperbacks of Shakespeare. Nothing special, but I like the artwork on these vintage Shakespeare classics. Still have not read an entire Shakespeare play, but I will eventually. Kind of gives off, what's his name? Not Barnabas Collins, but the guy that was on there with him. The hell was his name? Whatever his name was. You know the one. Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Another book that I have probably 3 or 4 copies of. Never read it. I believe I have a copy right over there. No. I have an old copy of this book, and I probably should read it at some point. Hey, buddy. Oscar Wilde. This one is... Oh, yeah. It also has this in there. I always like stupid stuff like this. English, page 15. Parrot, Polynesia. Cracker porridge. Between people, opinion, conversation, personification. Automobile. Got most of these mass market paperbacks at an estate sale where they were $5 for $1, which is where I believe I got this one. Fool's Apple by Sarah Cardiff. Obviously, classic Gothic novel. They all came to the old family house on New England's bleak coastline. The great-grandmother with 100 years of hate keeping her silently alive. Young Elizabeth Frame returning with her husband, whom she deeply loved and was fighting desperately to keep, and Kimball, Elizabeth's cousin, now transformed into a wild, passionate beauty. Together they gathered in the old house, and together they found themselves caught in a terrifying web of passion, witchcraft, drugs, and strange secrets too powerful to be controlled. Classic. Rebel Rose, the astonishing story of a brilliant and determined woman who became one of the most celebrated spies in U.S. history. The life of Rose O'Neal Greenough, Confederate spy, Ishbel Ross. Never heard of her. Then again, I don't know much about the Confederacy. What year is this book? 1982. Looks older. It's like a 70s, but whatever. Max Demont, Jews, God, and History. Phenomenally acclaimed. These books were actually, I think, from 2 weeks ago. I had like 4 or 5 books that got set aside, and I just forgot to add them to this list. That's another one of them. So yeah, just another mass market paperback to add to my hoard of books. Oh yeah, Paper Tiger. So these vintage bookmarkers are brilliant. Apparently there was Paper Tiger it was called, and it was in the Kmart Center at 7 in Farmington, where I almost crashed my station wagon one time when the brakes failed. I drove into a snowbank. Anyway, Margaret Trudeau, Beyond Reason. Originally, I thought this was Margaret Truman, but obviously I just grab shit and throw it in the basket. This is the one who supposedly had an affair with Fidel Castro, I believe. And that's why they believe that Justin Trudeau is his kid, but I don't know if that's just a conspiracy or what. Here's a cool old vintage mass market paperback of Homer's The Odyssey, translated by Robert Fitzgerald. I like this one too. Bookstore. What's that say? Wayne State University? WSU? Could be. Either way, what year was it? September 24th, 73. Book was $1.95. So it must not have been this book. This must just been his bookmark. And then there's also this. Fee payment record, North Dakota State University. Students retain this card as your official receipt when validated. What year was this? What year, buddy? Is his name Larry Real? Larry Real. Some markings, but there you go. 2 Ellery Queen books. And on the 8th day and Queen's Foal, 3 novelettes and a pair of short stories. Obviously, Ellery Queen was a team of mystery writers. What's this? Oh, just a piece of paper. So we had something good in there. I have some old Ellery Queen mystery magazines as well, but probably not worth much, but worth more than the 50 cents I paid. This one, where did I get this? No, I got this at the Salvation Army, 50 cents. I have about 10 different copies of this book, even though I'll never read it. It's got some marginalia and the explication parts. Seems like the entire body of the book has none, but the explication parts are marked up, which would make you believe that this person bought it for a college course. What is the end part? Probably just a bio on Nabokov. A Heap of Living, Edgar A. Guest, who was a newspaper poet who became rather popular. This is from 1916. Chicago, the Riley and Lee Company. Paid $2 for this, but it's probably worth 10 or 15. So I don't know how many copies I have of this book. This is a smaller version than the bigger books that he put out. Paid $2. The hell was that? A Heap o' Living. Listening to Catnip. Stories from a Cat Analyst's Couch by Dr. Sigmund F. Winnicott. Obviously, it's just bullshit, but it was 20 cents in the state sale, so I got it. Go with my 50 or 60 other books on cats. I'm grateful to my many friends. Shut up. Great Cases of Scotland Yard. Reader's Digest. It's funny, I was just sorting out my true crime books the other day. And now I have another one. Typical Reader's Digest illustrations and stuff, which aren't fucking great art, but they're interesting. Pop art. The San Francisco Earthquake. Another 20-cent book I got at an estate sale. What year was it? April 18th, 1906. Wasn't there 2 big earthquakes in San Francisco? Or am I thinking of the Great Fire? Or was that the same time? Either way, I don't really care. It's just I will collect anything with tornadoes and hurricanes and earthquakes. $25 book I picked up today. The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. My dungeon shook. indispensable American writer, one of the few genuinely indispensable American writers. At once a powerful evocation of his early life in Harlem and a disturbing examination of the consequences of racial injustice to both the individual and the body politic, The Fire Next Time, which galvanized the nation in the early days of the civil rights movement, stands as one of the essential works of our literature. Kemet, or is it Kemet? Afrocentricity and Knowledge by Molefi Keat Asante. Probably have as large of a collection as of black authors as I do almost any other subject. This book, I think, has got some value, so I may sell it. May not. Probably never going to read it. Asante's book, Kemet, Afrocentricity and Knowledge, continues his project of forging a new discipline out of the many strands of Black studies. Like his previous works, this is a profound statement of the Afrocentric perspective. Negro slave songs in the United States. Few other works have revealed with such sympathy and understanding the life and thought of the pre-Civil War Negro. What shall I do for a hiding place and a heaven, etc.? I run to the sea, but the sea run dry. I run to the gate, but the gate shut fast. No hiding place for sinner, dear. Say you when you get to heaven, say you remember me. Remember me, poor fallen soul, or when I am gone for Jesus' sake. Say when you get to heaven, say your work shall prove. Your righteous Lord shall prove 'em well. Your righteous Lord shall find you out. He cast out none that come by faith. You look to the Lord with a tender heart. I wonder where poor Monday, dear, gone, for I am gone and sent to hell. We must harkee what the world say. Say Christmas comes but once a year. Say Sunday comes but once a week. Cat Crimes. Masters of Mystery present a collection of new cat tales. Cat Crimes. When did it say I didn't always like cats? I didn't always like cats. I suppose this had something to do with my own self-image. Cats were for men destined to be poets, while dogs were more for, regular guys. I wanted to be a regular guy. This went on well into my 30s when one drab spring morning I awoke knowing neither my name nor my present whereabouts and found next to me a woman who spoke a language other than English. Years later, this would all be funny in a grisly sort of way, but that morning it was not funny at all. My life was completely out of control. I was an alcoholic. Jesus Christ, Ed Gorman. Hey, I'm a fucking alcoholic writer. It's cool, buddy. A Diary from Dixie, Mary Boykin Chestnut. I think I actually have this book, but just in different form. Sounds very familiar. The chestnut part. One of the most important documents in Southern history. This is a day-by-day diary of the Civil War years. It rings with authenticity while evoking the nostalgia, bitterness, and comedy of the Confederacy. Comedy? I don't know about that, buddy. Hilary Mantel Wolfhall, twice winner of the Man Booker Prize. This is an UK version of the book. I believe I have a copy of this, a hardcover. I don't think it's worth very much. I don't really know why I bought it, but I bought it again because it was a popular book. I may read parts of it at some point, but I doubt it. Fields of Battle, The Wars for North America by John Keegan. I mean, Is this the early wars, like the War of 1812? To the grand tour of the battlefields of North America, John Keegan brings the stylistic dash and boldness of insight that have made him the world's foremost military historian. He also brings an unabashed love for America itself, as well as a keen appreciation of the ways in which its vast space determined the course of the wars that were fought on its soil. From Wolfe's siege of Quebec to Custer's downfall at Little Bighorn, Keegan revisits the critical battles of 2 centuries. He shows us how Washington was able to overwhelm British fortifications at Yorktown and why the Union offensive collapsed during the 7 Days Campaign. Oh, that. Llewellyn Witches Datebook 2022. I was hoping that some witchly person would write in here and write some of their thoughts, but no such thing happened. They did highlight a few things and put stars and stuff in there, but I don't see any writing. What did that say? Any beverage can be a potion. Empowering the potion. A Cup of Magic. Transform any beverage into a potion by Michael Fury. Enchanting your third eye. I don't know why the fuck this is got the comb style, the spiral binding. It's really weird. Probably because it's a date book. The autobiography of Saint Therese of Lisieux, The Story of a Soul, translated by John Beavers. I have quite a few books on this sort of thing. The spiritual Marys and that sort of thing. She was called the saint popularly known as Little Flower. Though she was only 24 years old when she died, her writings have had tremendous impact. She looks like she's about 40. Hardy, Thomas, A Pair of Blue Eyes. The blue eyes of the book's title belong to Elfried Swancourt, Elfried, daughter of the rector of Endestow, a remote sea-swept parish. Elfried, who has little to do with society, becomes entangled with 2 men, the boyish architect Stephen Smith and the older literary man Henry Knight. Ironically, the 2 rivals have been close friends, Knight being mentor to the younger man who had looked up to him as the noblest man in England. A chain of dramatic events begins with Stephen's arrival to survey the church at Endestow. Exciting stuff. The Beauty and the Sorrow. An Intimate History of the First World War by Peter England. This book's in great shape. Who the fuck's out there honking? Tubarida. No, it's a guy next door. Anyway, First World War. World War that got us into globalism. Africans in colonial Louisiana, the development of Afro-Creole culture in the 18th century. Not a big fan of Louisiana or New Orleans, but this looks like an interesting book. French New Orleans. Death and Revolt. Senegambia during the French slave trade. What do you got, buddy? Got books. Shitload of books. Did you know Sylvester Stallone wrote a book, buddy? I didn't either until I found it today. I was hoping it was signed, but it's not. First edition, Bubba. 1977. Apparently old Slav was writing fucking books. Which makes sense, because he wrote Rocky around that time. Sylvester Stallone's first novel is a simple tale of three brothers trapped in poverty and in the sweltering heat of the post-war summer of '46. Like Rocky, Paradise Alley is a poignant and romantic story of ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. The Carboni brothers are known to everyone in their neighborhood. Victor is a sweet 28-year-old giant who drives a battered ice truck through Manhattan's West Side slums. Victor isn't the best looking or brightest guy in Hell's Kitchen, but as the Iceman, he's a welcome and familiar figure. So yeah, sounds real exciting. Looks like it has some water damage to it. Look, it's Stallone sitting there at his typer with a big old fucking ring on. Kid Salami. I don't like the sounds of that at all. This book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, it's worth about $20. I paid a quarter for it, but this will probably be my copy that I keep, and I'll probably sell my good copy. But I always get this book when I see it. The Pythagorean Theory of Music and Color. This book's way too long for me to ever read it, but I may. We shall see. Good investment, though. 25 frickin' cents. This book is part of the ones I bought about 2 weeks ago and forgot about. To Be Popular or Smart, the Black Peer Group, Jawanza Kunjufu. I don't know, is she from Michigan? I don't know, but I always like these just basic DIY sort of books. I am a Christian. My Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ. I want everyone to know, because some people assume if you have an African name, believe in self-determination, don't eat meat, and believe in God, you must be from another religious persuasion. All of my books, which include Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, which is worth money, because I looked this up. And yeah, some of her books are worth money. Some of them are not. This one is one of them, but I like the clip art cover. To Be Popular or Smart, the Black Peer Group. If being smart is acting white, what does blackness mean? How can parents, teachers, and community leaders deprogram African American students from the myth of intellectual inferiority? Well, I think 20 years basically did it on its own. When white people are some of the dumbest people on the planet, so you don't have to worry about feeling inferior to white people if you ever did, because they're morons. When you succeed or fail, do you attribute it to ability, effort, ease of task, or luck? Do you have a child or student who has ability, a supportive home, and good teachers, but is underachieving? Read To Be Popular or Smart, the Black Peer Group. This is a great book, The Message of the Sphinx. I didn't see that before. I should read this on the channel. The Message of the Sphinx, A Quest for the Hidden Legacy of Mankind by Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval. As I've stated before, I went and saw Hancock when he released this book back in, 96? Yeah. Saw him at I believe a Borders Books out in Birmingham, Michigan, after hearing him on the Mark Scott show, and this guy's fucking brilliant. I wonder if, didn't he almost die a couple years ago? Anyway, the whole crux of the book is that the Sphinx is not as old as people claim. I believe that's what it is. He believes it's like 5,000 years old, where others claim it's like 10,000. At least that's what I believe it is. I forgot now. Septepi, the first time. Where's Septepi? We must see it. Septepi, where is Seppi? The place of the first time. Lastly, Edith Head's Hollywood. Edith Head and Patty Calistro. Forward by Betty Davis. Obviously, it's about Hollywood, and it's well, that's not a good sign where pages are stuck together. Either means water damage or someone jizzed in it. Anyway, my intention is to sell this book. What a fucking bad haircut. Who's that? Cher's mother? Awful haircut. At 46, Edith enjoyed adding a ribbon to her braids and dressing in Mexican garb after hours. Okay. Is this the lady that wrote the book? What a fucking bad hairdo, lady. Edith often used dolls as models before completing her star's wardrobes. Here she shows Ginger Rogers a model of one of her costumes. Take it she was a designer. In one of her earliest publicity photographs for Paramount, Edith wore a gown of her own design, 1928. I gotta say, that's pretty fucking... ahead of its time. Edith Head. I guess. I won't say it. I'll shut up my face. I'll shut up on my face. It was imperative that Catherine Ross's flannel robe allow enough freedom of movement for her to ride tandem on Paul Newman's bike. All right, that's all. Bye, bruv.